Bob, we've known each other a really long time, gone through many LSVT LOUD journeys together and working on your voice and speech. So I just want to take a minute to think back. Let's reminisce a little bit and go back to the beginning of when we first met. So do you remember how many years ago that was?
Well, I'm thinking it's 7 years maybe now.
Okay, that seems about right. I can't remember exactly. But when we met, you hadn't had any treatment before.
None at all.
So tell me a little bit about, before we started LSVT LOUD treatment, what you were noticing, what other people were noticing with your voice and speech.
I was working then with the fire department, and it was important for me to communicate. I was the chief of the department, had board of directors meetings and a lot of communications with the firefighters and command officers. And I began to notice as well with the physical limitations that were developing, my voice seemed to be softening. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but the firefighters would say, huh?
Okay.
Could you repeat that?
Okay.
Didn't catch that. And so we were spending a lot of time rehashing things that had already been said.
So what did you think, I mean, when they were asking you to repeat, did you realize your voice was getting quieter? Did you just think they weren't paying attention, or how did that?
I didn't think it was, of course, my fault that there was anything that I wasn't saying loud enough that they were listening. But then my wife began to notice that I didn't seem to be paying any attention to her.
Okay.
And it was just that I wasn't communicating well. And she wasn't hearing me and wanting to, how come you didn't answer me? And well, I did, she didn't hear me. This is getting to be a problem.
Yeah, it's probably pretty frustrating. I mean, because you're having it at home and at work, and
I'm not picking up on the vibes that I'm the source of the problem.
Right. Right.
It's everybody else's fault, you know.
So frustrating for everybody involved.
It was.
Yeah. I'm going to have you think back quite a ways, because as we said, it was several years ago when we did therapy. But do you remember when we first started doing LSVT, where you started to get that awareness that, oh, it's my voice that's too quiet?
In your office is where it happened at. The first sessions of awe. You kept telling me, no, let's get a strong, louder. And I'd go, geez, that's pretty loud. It felt loud to me, but you kept driving it further and further. You got to be louder and louder in the exercises. And then I started to notice that there was a difference, that sometimes I'd be loud and sometimes I wouldn't be so loud. And I was starting to pick up on the differences because I wasn't maintaining consistency with my loud voice, which your sessions really trained consistency into me.
Well, you had no way to get out of it, right? Because I was always on you with that.
You locked the doors, and yes.
Yes. I don't know if you remember back, but when we played back your voice and you could hear that difference between the voice that felt normal to you and then the voice that I was getting you to that felt too loud. Do you remember that at all?
I do, and there was a world of difference, and to hear it, to actually have it compared side by side, it taught me a strong lesson about you have to keep working on this. This is not about when the therapy is over. This is about lifetime. And I have to embrace this and be aware of it. And that took a while to be aware all the time. But now it's second nature. It's a part of me.
That's great.
And today people come up and we talk about Parkinson's and the physical limitations. But we talk about voices. I teach now in fire sciences, and other instructors will come up to me and say something about, I hear you're working on your voice. And I say, always. Well, your voice sounds good to me. It's like, so why are you bothering, Bob? Well, this is a lifetime.
Right.
I've got to stay after it.
What the ultimate compliment, because you are continually working on it, and to have someone come in and say, you sound great, you sound normal, that's awesome.
I had one instructor that I think a lot of, and he's a mentor to me, said after a conference, He said, I thought you said you were having trouble with your voice. And I said, well, I am, but I'm not. And so we talked about it. He said, you go back and tell your therapist you got a good voice. That was a big day for me.
That's great. That's great. Well, and you do have a great voice. You sound great. Are you thinking loud right now
Yes.
as we're talking? Okay.
No, and thinking, but not thinking like I used to, which was
Okay.
all the time. Now I just check myself when I'm thinking about it because it's a part of me again. I stay after it.
You do an excellent job of staying after it. So you worked hard during LSVT Loud. You had this great outcome. But to your point of you have to stay after it, it was several years ago. So what have you been doing to keep that voice loud? I mean, how do you keep and maintain?
Well, I practice at least 5 minutes, 5 days a week. But I
Excellent.
try to get 10, 15 minutes if I can.
Okay.
And when I'm driving in the car, I call them my awe songs. There's a bunch of songs out there that when they're playing it on radio, that they don't sing this music, and I awe with it. It's short. It's not minutes long at all, of course. It's short, but it keeps me plugged in to my loud voice exercises.
Keeps you thinking about it in addition to those ahs and everything you're doing.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. We just started, it's been almost a year ago now, I can't believe that, the group in Denver, the Loud for Life group, to practice keeping your voice loud in a group environment with other people who have finished LSVT Loud. So can you share a little bit about the experiences you've had with the group, if you feel it's been helpful? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it has been helpful. The amount of work that you and your staff put into those sessions, because you like today, the classic cars and the travel, and you do so much research that is relevant to what I'm experiencing, makes it easy to talk about using my loud voice.
Okay.
And the group of people we interact, it's exercises, well, not so much exercises, they're events that you have us recall, renew, think about, and to speak about. And you get all of us talking at the same time, and you can just hear the level increase because we have to adjust. Because if I talk in that environment, with my normal loud voice, it's not good enough. I got to pump it up. And I recognize those times because this is the first time I've ever exercised with others in the same position as I am.
So we try to make it a lot of real world environments in the group. Do you feel that? Do you
Oh,
feel like it
absolutely.
emulates a real world environment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everything that we are given to talk about, to study, to bring back is real world stuff.
Great. Do you feel like once you started the group that you've been practicing more? Because there'd been a little bit of a gap between when I saw you and you started the group.
It's easy to cheat sometimes and to pull away from it. I'll practice tomorrow. I'll practice. Now I know I got to practice almost every day if I'm going to be on the right score come Monday afternoon.
Because you know I will check in, right?
I know it well, absolutely. And I must tell a quick story about you checking in. I was at the office at the college where I was teaching, and they were having a small debate in my office over a couple of issues that we were needing to resolve. And while they're debating, the phone rings. So I pick up the phone, and I didn't want to interrupt their debate, so I said, Bob speaking, and it's you. And you said, where is that strong voice?
I remember
how
this.
could I? The one time I dropped my guard, you're on the phone calling about something. And I thought that was really funny. So even now when there's argument or debate going on, I speak loudly.
Good. Well, and I remember you tried to use that excuse because I remember this situation. Like, I don't care all the time. It has to be loud. Yes.
Where's the strong voice?
Right. Very good. Great. Any other words of wisdom or things you want to share with other people who maybe haven't gone through yet LSVT Loud or have gone through it but are maybe struggling with continued practice? What are some pearls of advice you could give?
Well, the first one is during our work with the Loud Mondays, not often, but from time to time, the others will ask me, what are you doing here? Your voice is strong. You have the strongest voice here. And I want to say to them, because I've continued to work through this program, I've never stopped. Your voice will be like this too if you keep working, because my voice is like yours is today. And there's room to grow, there's room to strengthen. Don't quit. It's important.
Well, and that feedback, I mean, you're a rock star with us because you've done excellent at keeping up practice. And I mean, is it easy to do that daily? No.
No.
I know it's a lot of work and you have to put that in, but what's the outcome you get? This nice, strong voice.
And it is important
Yes.
to keep that for your relationships, for your confidence, to be able to communicate experiences and not give off so much that it's Parkinson's. No, this is voice.
And when you have that strong voice, people take you seriously, and you've got such important things to say and share. So people want to be able to hear you.
Would you remind my wife of that?
So is she asking you to repeat now?
No.
Okay.
And she also has given me words of encouragement when I leave to go to Mondays and to tell you what a good job you're doing.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. I appreciate that. Well, keep up the great work. You have done fantastic.
You make it fun. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to reach out to those of you who are watching this video who have Parkinson's, and I want to say to you that this is a life experience change, that the exercises work, and it will build your confidence. It will help you to succeed where we have difficulties physically succeeding. This is something you can capture. This is not a difficult program, but it's a program that continually reminds us of what our voice can be. Please don't stop. We're going to whip this someday.